Can you imagine your HOA telling your kids they can't use their phones in the park you pay for? Well, that's exactly what happened in one quiet suburban neighborhood, and the fallout was explosive. In a leafy, suburban community outside of Denver, Colorado, parents thought they'd found the perfect place to raise their kids. Safe streets, manicured lawns, and, the crown jewel, a beautiful neighborhood park funded by their HOA dues. But earlier this year, the Homeowners Association shocked residents with a new rule. Children under 14 were banned from using mobile phones inside the park. The HOA board justified it with language that parents found both insulting and outrageous. According to them, kids' phones were causing noise, disruption, and safety risks. To many parents, it felt less like a safety concern and more like an invasion into family life. After all, they were paying for that park. And in today's world, phones aren't just toys, they're lifelines. Parents rely on them for safety check-ins, location tracking, and emergencies. But the HOA wasn't just suggesting kids use phones less, they were banning them outright. At first, parents thought it had to be a mistake. A misunderstanding. Surely no one would actually enforce such an over-the-top rule. But within days, signs appeared around the park. Clipboard notice: children under 14 are not permitted to use mobile phones in this park. Violations will result in penalties to the household. And then came the fines. One father received a $50 fine after his 12-year-old daughter was spotted on FaceTime with a friend. Another family was threatened with suspension of park access after their son was caught filming a TikTok. The HOA justified these punishments by claiming phones were distracting children from physical activity and making the park environment less peaceful. But to parents, it sounded absurd. As one mom put it, "Studio microphone, so my kid can scream at the top of his lungs on the swings, but he can't quietly text me when it's time to come home? How does that make sense?" This wasn't just about phones anymore. Parents began to see it as a battle over rights, over who gets to decide how children grow up, and whether an HOA has the authority to police family choices. Could an HOA really tell kids what they can and cannot do in a public space funded by residents' money? That's the question that would soon tear the neighborhood apart. And then came the kids' voices. One 11-year-old boy told local reporters, "Studio microphone, they told me I couldn't use my phone in the park. But what if something happens? What if I need to call my mom? It makes me feel like I did something wrong, just for having my phone." Another girl, just 9 years old, broke down in tears when her mother explained that she couldn't take her phone to the park anymore. She used it to take photos of her friends, capture videos of the ducks at the pond, and listen to music while she played. Suddenly, kids felt watched, restricted, and punished for something that had always been normal. For parents, it was heartbreaking. The outrage didn't stay contained. Parents began organizing, at first in private Facebook groups, then in heated HOA meetings. Tensions rose. On one side, parents argued that phones were essential tools in today's world, and that the HOA had no right to interfere in their children's lives. On the other side, a small but vocal group of residents defended the ban. They claimed that phones were ruining childhood, that kids needed to play like we used to, and that the HOA was simply protecting the park's atmosphere. But what started as a neighborhood dispute was about to spiral into something much bigger. Because one parent decided to take the fight to social media, and the story would soon explode. When a furious mother shared a video of her daughter being scolded by an HOA board member for using a phone in the park, the clip went viral. Overnight, the neighborhood found itself at the center of a national firestorm. And what happened next shocked everyone. The moment one parent hit upload, this small HOA rule became a nationwide debate: should HOAs have the power to ban kids from using phones in parks? The girl looked confused, then embarrassed, as the adult scolded her. The mother's caption read, "Mobile phone, our HOA just banned kids from using phones in the park we pay for. This is beyond insane." Within 48 hours, the video had over 2 million views. Comments flooded in. Some sided with the parents. Speech balloon, this is ridiculous. Phones are part of life now. The HOA has no right. Others sided with the board. Speech balloon, finally, someone is standing up to screen addiction. Good for them. And suddenly, what had been a small community squabble became a national conversation about parenting, technology, and freedom. Inside the neighborhood, things grew toxic. Parents who opposed the rule were now being labeled troublemakers. Those who supported the ban accused the others of being lazy parents addicted to screens. HOA meetings turned chaotic. Residents shouted over one another. Board members threatened harsher fines, even suggesting suspensions of voting rights for repeat violators. The park, once a place of laughter and play, became a battleground. Children were nervous, parents were angry, and friendships between neighbors dissolved overnight. One mother described how her 13-year-old son didn't even want to go to the park anymore. Studio microphone, he told me, "Mom, I feel like they're spying on me. I don't want to get us in trouble. This is a place we used to love, and now he avoids it completely." For many families, the park rule wasn't just inconvenient. It was creating a climate of fear and shame. And then came the lawyers. Several families began exploring legal action, arguing that the HOA's rule was an overreach and possibly illegal. Could a private association really restrict children's phone usage in a shared common space? Legal experts weighed in. Some said HOAs had broad powers to create community rules, but others argued this was a clear violation of parental rights. The possibility of a lawsuit only deepened the divide, and attracted even more media coverage. Soon, national outlets picked up the story. Headlines screamed. Newspaper, HOA bans kids from using phones in park, parents outraged. Newspaper, phone-free childhood or authoritarian overreach? Morning talk shows debated it. Parenting blogs dissected it. Even politicians weighed in, using the story to score points in the culture wars. What started as a quiet HOA rule had become a symbol of a much bigger debate: who gets to decide how children grow up, parents, or the community? So what happened? After weeks of national scrutiny, the HOA finally announced they were reviewing the rule. But instead of backing down, they proposed a compromise. Clipboard phones could only be used in designated areas of the park, like the benches near the entrance. Parents were furious. To them, it was still policing children unnecessarily. And many vowed to keep fighting. Some families even began talking about selling their homes and leaving the community entirely. In the end, the story of the phone ban wasn't just about one park in Colorado. It was about something much larger. Balance scale: the clash between personal freedoms and community rules. Mobile phone: the generational divide over technology and parenting. House with garden: and the question of how far an HOA should be allowed to go. For parents, it was a chilling reminder: the place you choose to raise your children might come with rules you never imagined. Clapperboard: so what do you think? Should HOAs have the power to ban kids from using their phones in community parks? Or did this board cross the line into controlling family life? Let us know in the comments, because this debate is far from over.